Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to the booth. We are here for our week 1 review. I understand it's a Saturday, but I pinky promise Denny's takes reservations on Saturdays. So we're not worried about that. We've got our usual table. We kicked out this group of old people. Something, I don't know, they seemed to be into something weird, so we just kicked them out. And so now we're here at our booth. And so far, no maple syrup has been spilled, although that is subject to change. So we'll see how that goes. We are incredibly excited to bring you guys our week 1 review. And so the way that we're going to sort of set this up is that we're going to go group by group and we're going to talk about the standings. And we have our tier lists that we made 2 episodes, 1 episode, 2 episodes, a number of episodes ago. That we can sort of use as like a reference to see like how well we did or how poorly we did. Well, I'm excited to get into that. But before we dive into all of this, Vega, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm actually doing wonderful. Coming fresh off a birthday party, which means I'm very amped up about, just the wonders of the world. Another year around the sun for a child that I loosely know. And yeah, I'm doing great.
Okay. I mean,
Loosely known.
children's birthday party loosely know is probably the only
We're
the
acquaintances.
only
I would-
connection that I want with young people because they're so annoying. Let's not
Jack,
let's
you
not
are young people.
Yeah, and let's also not think about the fact that I'm a child adolescent therapist. So
Yeah, I was gonna mention that
I have
part.
so many
of it.
questions.
yeah, I hope they're not listening. All right, Valentine, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been a fun morning and afternoon, early afternoon so far.
Luffy just invited me to an arena game, so if you guys heard the league invite sound, that was me, and now I've closed my client so that he can't do that anymore. Les Force, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Different vibe at Denny's on the Saturdays instead of Sundays though. A little bit more rambunctious old people I've noticed.
Yeah, I think it's some convention of some sort, but I haven't figured out exactly what. Maybe we'll figure that out over the course of the stream as we think of a good joke for it. Anyway, let's move on to our week 1 review. So the way that we're going to go about it is I'm going to do a quick little transition. Watch this shit. Wah, yeah, wah. Okay. And so the way we're going to go through it is we're going to look at the standings for each week, and we have our tier list that we made at the beginning of the season on the right. And so we can sort of take a look at all of these results here. Alrighty, so as we take a look at the results, so folks, let's take a look at Group A for economy for week number 1 of the LBLCS. There is one match that has yet to be scheduled, which is the Soy Milk versus FS. I can't even read on my screen anymore. The text is so tiny, and I'm getting old. Which has yet to be scheduled. I think it got delayed. So it got delayed. So we don't know what's up with
Owner
that.
of Milk Esports, what is happening with this game?
What is going on?
As many people know, tropical storm moved through last week, so we have a couple players across teams that have, without power, without internet, things like that. So unfortunately, unforeseen circumstances.
Real.
I take no responsibility.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
None. Yeah.
That's what team captains are for.
So true.
But it should be a banger. Whenever it happens.
Whenever it happens, it will
also
be a banger.
Yeah, because now also my girlfriend is the starting AD carry of Soy Milk through a lot of like roster swapping and subbing, so that'll be fun.
Okay.
Coaching
right.
your girlfriend never ends poorly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's going to go well. And I'm a psychologist, so I know everything. Or something along those lines.
Everything.
I wouldn't distinctly connect those two things, but all right.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta do a little bit of a full send here. All right, so let's talk a little bit about these things. I'm going to do a little bit of playing with my OBS. So if the stream goes weird for a second, that's just me. That's my fault. That's on me. But if it doesn't, then I'm fantastic. So
Yeah,
whatever.
Good job.
All right, so let's talk about these standings here. So it looks like we have what are sort of the surprise matches of this group as I start messing with things?
I mean, I think like if we're looking for a surprise of the three that we saw so far, I guess we could say maybe the 2-0 for tactical feed over sperm whales was maybe the surprise because they were both kind of put in that like dark horse category for us. And I mean, looking at the match results, it doesn't look like tactical feed necessarily like stomp the games. It looked like they were both pretty competitive. Looks like Red Face Beast had a pretty strong series in the bot lane. Um, I mean the other two series, I would say probably like a little less. Maybe not. Weren't expecting the 2-0s, but the team that we ranked higher ended up winning the series. So I guess that would just be like the default answer, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
agree
it
with that.
seems like we did well with that one.
Yeah.
hmm
And so I'm kind of surprised that CLG was unable to take a game, but I mean, it also probably speaks to like the upgrades that Legion made to their roster over the offseason. I think it's going to be really interesting going forward.
Yeah, Blanco Mamba looked really good in those games
Yep.
for High Alert in that 2-0 and even Jungle. I mean, Sejuani, not a champ that typically shines, and maybe that's like me my bias bringing up the Jungle from Pane, but look pretty good. They look really strong.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like we've got what is this? We've got three 2-0s. So, Soy Milk versus Fifth Spectrum. You guys have the chance to either confirm this 2-0 week for Group A, or do a little bit of goofy goobering, and see what the hell happens in the I don't know game. I mean, 2-1. I
Yeah.
think is a good score line. No
hmm
reason why I
Yeah.
think that in particular. So
I think yeah, I mean, NGO obviously got the 2 over FBI, and I think Fifth Spectrum and Soy Milk is going to be a pretty solid game because, right, those are two of the teams that are within the same area, like within like that A
Yep.
tier
yeah.
that we're kind of excited to see how they match up. I think that'll give us a really good idea of what it looks like.
hmm
Yeah, so we had our two dark horse teams face each other this week, which is pretty interesting, right?
Mhm.
So we've got the sperm whales, which were new, falling to tactical feed. So what do we think? Like, if we had to redo the tier list now that we had this match
Mhm.
played out, where do we think that these teams would go? Would we keep them in the dark horse tier, or do we feel like we have enough information to start putting them into either the S tier, A tier, or B tier?
Um, I'm always hesitant to overreact to week one because I think for a lot of teams, a lot of adjustment, and it's tough also because for a team like Cuddly League guys, like yeah, they lose 2-0, but they lose 2-0 to High Alert Legion, which is where you're like,
Right.
okay, well, that's an 0-2 loss, but do I still think that like does tactical feed jump CLG? I'm not sure yet because they lose, a game
Right.
to who we proverbial thought was the best team in the group.
Mhm.
I think the
Exactly.
Soy Milk Fit Spectrum will give a little bit of context to the group, and then week two will really be the telling week of like, okay, is there a trend here? What teams go to 2-0? What teams, are 0-2?
Exactly.
Things like that.
So currently, Vega, we're too early to call, in your opinion, for really allowing this tier list to settle out a bit here.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
I think that any week one also for a lot of teams is going to be kind of a wake up call. If you're just scrimming in the off season, obviously scrim to stage is so variably different, and your first week of playing is going to be your first real read. So some teams are going to come back in week two and be considerably stronger than they were in week one, or have a better read on the meta than they did in week one. Right now that you've been able to see competitive games across the league, for multiple groups and things like that,
Mhm.
teams will adjust to that. Teams will reconcile. But I
Right.
think right now it's still I think High Alert's probably still on paper the best team. CLG I thought was a pretty good team. And for them to get 2-0 makes me still I don't feel like CLG is any worse than I thought. I think
Yep.
if anything, I think High Alert's better than I thought they were.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like we've got like a lot more information about this group, but just not a whole ton. I was going to go into sort of talking a little bit about the NGO FBI match, but Sammy has sufficiently glazed himself in the chat, so I feel like we can just sort of move on to the other matches here, so we could take a
Yeah.
look at that. Is there anything else that we want to talk about for Economy Group A before we get to move on over to Economy Group B?
No,
Play
Okay.
your
I think we
games, Soy
covered
Milk.
everything nicely.
Play your games.
Play your games.
Yeah.
All right. So
Play your
I am
games.
going to do some quick scene changing. Transition. I did it. Okay, cool. So everything is working, and I'm amazing. All right, so here we have Economy Group B with one match played.
Weekend gamers.
We've got not quite. So we've got the Kickin' Squids taking the 2-0 over Squires, and I did not remember to grab our predictions from last time, but that was our economy match of the week, if my memory serves correct, which is a rare
was.
occurrence.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, we took predictions. Now, here's the thing: is I don't remember who predicted which team to win. So while I go find that, let's tell me a little bit about this match.
So from what because I didn't get to watch it firsthand, but kind of from what I heard after the fact, it sounded like both games, the Rat Squires were in good spots to win. And maybe that just kind of alludes to that kind of like veterancy of the Kickin' Squids. Kind of like once it got to that mid to late game, they kind of just were on that. I mean, these guys have been playing together for such a long time. They kind of maybe knew how to navigate once that Baron
Mhm.
spawns. It sounded like they kind of just had that late game edge. And I don't think it's I picked the Kickin' Squids to win. I think I picked them 2-1.
Same.
So I don't think it's doom and gloom for the Rat Squires to go down
Exactly.
2-0 week 1, because it is again a lot of their first times playing in competitive League of Legends against
Yeah.
people that have been here like since the start.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I figured
basically
out
according to-
why I had forgotten our predictions from last time. And the reason why I forgot is because all of you guys picked the Squids and I picked the Squires. So, I was the only
Nice.
one who was wrong.
Yeah, I
But you
mean,
know
Well,
what?
we're the
Shit happens.
analysts. You're the
Yeah.
host.
I am
That's
I'm the glue guy, you know?
we're
yeah, the glue guy. Good job.
So I guess that's an L for me on that one, and we haven't really figured out exactly what our stakes are going to be yet, but we hope to have something juicy in store for all of you fun fans at home. But yeah, so I'll take the L on that one. That seems fine to me. Um, but let's see here. So, in case you're curious about the rest of Group B, Doggy Bone Goblin Zone and the Colorado Keg Killers are going to play each other on Sunday night at 7:30. So that's tomorrow night. And then the Two Town Gaming versus Body Break and 2% versus OEV match. Neither of those have been scheduled yet. So, guys, please get on scheduling your matches.
Vega, what's going on over there? That's two milk teams.
Yeah,
That's
I was
two
like,
milk
that's
teams
two milk-
down the
it's
fucking drain.
it's just economy. Okay, can we get to the other sections? Okay, the people who have scheduled games.
Yeah,
To be fair, both of those teams had scheduled games. They just fell through.
I mean, and it happens to the best of us, right?
It does really
Yeah,
happen to
and
us all.
so I mean, I'm being a little bit jokey, and having struggles to schedule in week 1 is going to make your life very difficult. So, sometimes you're going to have to dig on those substitutes. We're not just having you put on 7 players per team at a minimum for no reason.
Yep.
So bite the bullet, grab one of your subs. You might be surprised. Both Arrow and Capins, who are on my roster and sort of helped me win a few nights ago, were both substitutes for Highlanders, and now they're both starters. So you never know what's going to come of these substitutes that you pick up here. Plus, I think I've seen a bunch of posts in the free agent channel, so be sure to check that out if you're looking for more folks to round out your rosters. Anyway, so it seems like we've got the least information about this group because literally one
Mhm.
of the 4 matches has been played, but it was our match of the week. So if you're going to pick any one match to be played, that's the one to pick. 4 out of 8 games. Only half of the games in Econ have been played, which I think is the same ratio as Executive, but I'm not sure. No, that's not true. Executive has 4 out of 6 games played, so get on it, Econ. Let's go. All right, is there anything else that we want to talk about this Kickin' Squids Rat Squires game before we take a move on to stepping on up over to commercial?
Yeah, I think one of the big things you can see just like in the chance select before, it just in the comps for those games
Mhm.
is something that I think is super common with like teams that have been playing in the LCS for a while.
Mhm.
Is that you can see Kick and Squid's both of their comps are just these big team fighting meatball comps with like Seraphine and Maokai. It is something that you'll see them do every time if it's up and available. Especially like the Maokai Jungle. They played Set Malphite, Brand, Seraphine, Sona,
Mhm.
and obviously Rat House on the titular Twitch.
Yep.
Get it?
Yep.
Titular Twitch. Right, he's a rat.
The Twitchular.
No. Hey.
Hey.
Do we think those were mind games from Red House on the Twitch
Absolutely.
against the rats?
Right? Exactly, right?
Yeah, I mean that's gotta be some mind game stuff there. I would love to know where in the draft it was picked, but the draft links for that match have not been posted. So if you are one of the captains or you have access to the draft links from that game, please go add them to the match results post that you have in economy results. So please be sure to go do that. And if you're a captain and you're gunning to post your match results soon, please be sure to add the draft links to it. I will own it. I almost forgot as well, so like don't worry about it. But then I saw the other posts with other draft links, so I added mine. So just be sure to go do it. You can use like the pick links if you like sent them to the other captain. You can use the pick links. Just take the the last thing after the backslash off, and then the first backslash, and then that's the pick link. It's great. So if you need it, you can use that to go grab your draft links. So they're still alive somewhere. Hopefully, maybe, maybe. Anyway. All right. And
Yeah.
Slapbass Games, you have caught the tail end of it, but don't worry. The video, the recording of this will be on YouTube sometime today. I'll just upload it as soon as we sign out for the day. So if you missed it, you can go back, you can rewatch it, and somebody with more power than I have will go through and timestamp it for you. Maybe I'll volunteer Seer
Mhm.
for that. I don't think he's busy with anything right now, so we'll see.
Yeah. He's got the most free time in the entirety of the
Yeah.
LBLCS.
All that guy does is sit on his hands and play Valorant. It's crazy. I think Seer has put together so much for the LBLCS, so I feel like I can't even joke about him doing nothing
You absolutely
without
can.
feeling bad.
It's already out there, right?
Yeah, right. True.
Yeah,
True.
it's already out in the air.
Okay. So hopefully when we come back for our week 2 review, we've got more of these matches to take a look at, and I guess we'll talk about those matches when we can talk about those matches, but right now is not that time. So let's transition over to commercial. We can go over to commercial group A here. Yeah, I like doing the stinger in between things. I worked hard on that. It took me 20 minutes, but whatever.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it. All right,
Yeah.
let's take a look at commercial group A. Here we have half of the matches being played, and as far as I can tell, one of our dark horses pulled out a dub. So tell me a little bit about this group. What does the LPP boys, a new team to the LBLCS, and one of our dark horse teams, so that's a double whammy, as they say, pulling out a 2-1 dub over the Mighty Pandas, who we had sort of ranked towards the top of the A tier. So let's talk a little bit about what that might mean for this group and how that tier list might break down.
I think that I mean, outside of obviously for us as analysts looking at the group and our prediction, it throws it into a little bit of chaos, but in the good way, in the best way you could have chaos, right? Is you put a team in that tier, the kind of unknown tier, because you don't know what they're capable of, right? We haven't seen enough to really know, and to take down who we proverbially had ranked at the top of the board is huge. That's a namesake game to start the season, right? You get to start 1-0. Not only was it a win, it's a 2-1 win, it was a close series, but that's a confidence win, right? When analysts and stuff like that are saying like Mighty Panda is one of the top teams that could be in the group, they're one of the teams for people to look out for, and you come out and win week 1 against that, a lot of times that can be a snowball effect for you, right? For LPP boys, that is a huge namesake win. I know for me, I'll be turning into whatever their week 2 and on matches are just to make sure I'm catching that now, because you're on alert now. Any team who's prepping for them
Would you say you're on
can't
high
sleep
alert?
on them. I would never say that.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh my god, jeez, never?
I'm kidding.
This is a little steep.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I actually agreed
Ouchies.
this morning to be Bear's assistant if he agreed to be my assistant because we both struggle to remember when all of our games are.
Okay,
On.
sure.
Okay.
That's our last one.
Poor Bear.
I already. I'm sorry, Bear. I'm sorry.
You were set
Um,
up. You were set up.
yeah. I look for the bit. I will do anything. But yeah, I think that's massive. And in a group that was really hard for us to rate, where we had a lot of teams in the same tier and very few below that, I think that a win like that in a group that should be hotly contested means a lot early in the.
Yeah. Last Force or Valentine, do you guys have something that you would like to add to some of Vega's analysis?
One thing you can take from this series is the
Mhm.
team, and over the course of the season, you'll kind of see these like champion specific. I don't want to call them metas, but like last season in Group C, all the teams loved Amumu, and it was super highly contested. And coincidentally, you look at this series, and the team that won every game was the team that had Amumu. And like if you can pilot Amumu, like on paper, super simple champ, you throw the bandage toss and you hit R.
Mhm.
But in
Mhm.
competitive league where it's like so focused, like Val was saying about 5v5, big wombo ults,
Mhm.
like few people do it better than a Mumu. So maybe
Yeah.
that's something we'll take an eye on in this group. Like maybe
Mhm.
maybe it was just a one-off thing, or maybe it's gonna be like a kind of repeat effect there.
And kind of like to sort of like look at that point even a little bit more. It seems like so I just quickly checked the draft links, and it seems like in games 2 and 3, which were the ones that LPP Boys won. So LPP Boys lost game 1 fairly handily, and then came back and smashed games 2 and 3. Amumu was picked on blue 2. So it went through
Mhm.
all 6 first bans, blue 1, red 1, 2. Unpicked, uncontested, right? And so LPP Boys able to pick up the Amumu twice, and it looks like it's performing pretty well if I'm reading. Yeah, 1 death. The combined KDA in those 2 games is 1, 1, and 21, which I don't think I've ever had 1 death combined in 2
1
games.
and 21. Yeah,
1,
on a
1, and
Mumu.
21
Yeah.
combined.
Yeah,
That's
that's actually
crazy.
wild.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So yeah, I mean, really, really good stuff. Is that so? Sawyer sauce? Are you sauce? That would make sense. So yeah, really good stuff. Maybe a Mumu is going to be the new shtick in commercial. Maybe we'll see that happen again. It's a very good competitive pick for sure. Valentine, it seems like you had something that you wanted to add to a little bit of this conversation.
I obviously big ups to LPP Boys for making this group more difficult than it already was. And I think this makes me even more excited for the Subhuman Resources versus Rat Lords match. Um, I will say I expect obviously Serenity getting the win early. They're a team that I think was definitely itching for that S tier spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see if this is the start of a season where they just go ballistic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see if they can hold that off as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good start over Sentinels.
For sure. Yeah, it looks like game 2 in the Serenity Panther Core match was very close. So it seems like our rankings, we have the. I'm looking at 2 different things. No, I'm not. They're like right next to each other. I can't remember if we like actually sort of ordered each tier. I don't think we did. I think we sort of did it sometimes, but not other times. But who knows? We like to do whatever we want. And it looks like
Or
Sauce is
show.
saying LPP Boys versus Serenity is this Monday. So 2 teams both
Ooh.
coming off of a win, facing each other in week 2. I'm excited to talk about that match.
Yes.
All right. What else do we have to talk about in Commercial Group A? In case you're curious about when these next few matches are, High Alert Coven versus Lurkers is Sunday at 8 p.m. And TV Rat Lords versus Subhuman Resources is Sunday at 7:15. Sunday is a very busy day for the LBLCS.
Yes.
There are games, I think, starting at 4 p.m. and the last game starts at 9 p.m.
There,
So
there's so many
No, there's
games
a game that
we couldn't even fit them all in the
9:30,
stream
right?
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, there's a game at
There's
9:30
a game at
on
9:30.
Sunday as
That's
well.
I know
crazy.
there's a game at 9:30 on Sunday.
I do as well, mostly because I'm playing in it.
Ah,
but
yes, there is. I looked a little bit further down on my list, and indeed there is. Yeah, Verja saying had to create another column on the sheet because of how many games are getting played on Sunday. I feel like Sunday has always been a very popular day in the LBLCS, but maybe that's just. I
Yeah.
feel like Sunday and Monday are the popular days. No. Anyway, so the other two matches are yet to be played in this week, both sneaking in at the buzzer on Sunday night. So I'm looking forward to hopefully at least some matches getting streamed on Sunday night. So that's tomorrow. Wow, time moves so fast. Alrighty, let's
Really?
go ahead and move on over to commercial group B, and I'll whoosh, whoosh. Okay, so this was I have the wrong tier list up, or the wrong stand. No, I have the wrong tier list up. So I'll look to try to. No, I don't.
No, this is right. This is
I have the
right.
right one.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
You're
I'm
doing
doing
great.
amazing.
You're doing great.
I'm doing amazing. All right, cool. So here we are. This 3 out of the 4 matches. The only one not played is our commercial match of the week, which. Guess what day that's going to be played? It's going to be played Sunday at 8 p.m. So the henchmen are going to take on Team Backflip on Sunday at 8 p.m. So if you're looking forward to that match, so are we. We'll see it tomorrow. But before we start jumping into exactly what happens for the Hench Up team, let's take a look at these 3 matches. So we had Big Pharma versus the Midwest Scrubs, which was streamed. And then we have TV Avalanche versus Taco Bell taking the game over Taco Bell McNuggets, and Cuddly League guys Wunderkind taking the win over Detroit versus everybody. So tell me a little bit about these matchups, how they went, what we can learn about this, and what it might say sort of looking ahead at the remaining 7 weeks in the season.
I'll say that I think a lot of the results that we saw were kind of what was expected based on our predictions.
Mhm.
I will say a lot of this group is going to come down to the high alert team backflip match, because I think even on paper early in the season we kind of pegged that as being our matchup to probably decide top of the group. But I think Big Pharma's games pushed their stock for me way up.
Really?
Actually, even though it was a matchup that we expected them to win, they looked very good in that matchup, and a lot of stuff that you can kind of get from like watching their macro and decision making and things like that, where I'm like, oh hey, that team's more of a threat. Like I kind of had them as a middle of the pack team, you know, we exactly kind of where we had them. Now I'm a little bit more like, hey, that team really potentially could punch up, and TV Avalanche obviously winning. You know, I knew that they're probably going to go undefeated in the group. They're my number 1 team in commercial, probably besides any milk teams. So no surprises there. But yeah, I think the Cuddly League guys, Detroit versus everybody matchup, went to 3 games, was a bloodbath. That's kind of what we expected of those teams. We talked about both of them being competitive in this group. I think if anything, big winners of this week is anybody who emerged with a win in this really tight mess in the middle. Like Big Pharma, TVA, Cuddly guys, getting a win matters a lot in this group, because like those teams, realistically, any of these teams could go on a streak of winning games.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess that's something else I'm noticing is that either we had a Group A team, an A tier team versus our underdog, or we had other A tier teams sort of facing each other. And so, like as you're talking about, like that being our sort of quote unquote like bubble tier, that is sort of interesting to sort of see how this tier list might sort of shake up a little bit, and in what way these pieces might fall to sort of settle out that bubble tier there. Les Force and Valentine, do you guys have things that you would like to add to our discussion around commercial Group B? Besides that, the teams that won are the winners.
You don't have to ask me like this.
I thought it was a good take.
Yeah, I like Vegas take. I thought it was. I thought it was very. I thought it was an
teams that
elite take
win.
even.
That's actually it's
good.
I don't know if you guys know this. The goal actually is to win. So if you win,
oh shit,
you're doing good. You're doing
Your stock's
good.
going up.
Yeah. Okay.
Up.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think.
If you lose, you might want to change your strategies.
I mean, like, I guess the one series that kind of sticks out to me is the CLG Detroit versus everybody. Um,
Yeah.
it looks like the games, like, despite it being 2-1, it looks like they were very kind of stompy in either direction.
Mhm.
And part of that, like, I didn't get to catch it live, so we're kind of like scoreboard analyzing here, but
Mhm.
it looks like game one DVE kind of steamrolled the game.
Mhm.
Xiao Yu on the Jin really taking over, and then games 2 and 3 just uh Jungle honestly kind of looked like the difference maker here. Brandon popping off
Yeah,
on the
Brandon
Shyvana,
was
the
like, yeah.
Nocturne. So despite it being 2-1, you're probably feeling really good about that if you
Mhm.
are CLG.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like it's always so sort of like pretty fun, in my opinion, to sort of see players sort of emerge as a bit like a star over top, um,
Mhm.
like the group, or like to really like take over. Like we had Sauce from the previous group, and now we're looking at Brandon. Very good, succinct names. Well done, both of you.
Yeah, big fan
Um,
of well, okay, the
big
best
fan of
part
Sauce.
yeah,
Uh,
well, that too, and CLG's top winner is Jake. So you're going against the top side of Jake and Brandon, which I mean,
yeah, it's Jake v Brandon.
it,
That's crazy. Uh,
Jake
anyway,
and Brandon, they go hard.
Durango TV shouting out Lil Poink. Yep, absolutely. That's the big pharma, right? Like Lil Poink was that. That was
Yeah.
that series, yeah.
Yep.
And then the copy pastas that were sort of floating around. Um, yeah. So Sammy Two Slept kind of cooked with that one. Not gonna lie. It was Sammy, right? No, it was Pickle Hater. Pickle Hater cooked with that copy pasta. So very good.
Mhm.
Anyway, so we're looking at a pretty exciting group here. It seems like, as I'm taking a look at our tier list and as we're sort of talking about these different teams, what's occurring to me is that this seems like a group with what we might consider to be some of the best teams in commercial, and a bunch of teams that could contest those, like the teams that we're sort of considering to be some of the best, right? Like pretty that is pretty fun. So I'm excited to see how the remainder of this group sort of starts to shake out a little bit there. What else do we have to add on to our discussion around commercial group B before we move on to commercial group C?
I mean, match of the week coming in.
Yeah.
That's being played
Yeah.
tomorrow night. Should be very exciting. I know if the LBLCS isn't streaming it, I'm sure everyone's favorite org owner Bear TV will be watching the games very very stressed out because that's how he always is when he watches these games. But that should be a really good one.
Yeah, just want to quickly shout out Vega for spending money on the low budget LCS to gift a bunch of subs over to our our lovely community here, and it's reminding me that I think I missed another sub a while
Oh,
back.
it was Vega.
It wasn't Vega.
I
It was
gifted a sub to
Verja.
somebody else. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like Virgil.
Verja subscribed for 13 months, and with their subscription said, "Who let Jack win this week?" And quite frankly, I don't know.
It
I
wasn't
don't know
Jack.
how that. It wasn't me. If you watch the games, you know that I was trying pretty hard to lose. So we got that going on. But
Mobamba won that series for
Mobamba won
Jack.
that series for me.
Mobamba won that series.
But we will chat about that when we hit financial B. Um,
Lit.
yeah.
Um,
So as we take a look at as we start to take a look at commercial group C, um, did that go on? Is the stream showing commercial C? I don't know.
Yeah.
The answer
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yes. I love it. Okay, cool. Sweet. Sweet. All right. So as we look into commercial group C, it seems like no group yet has played all of their matches. And I think that actually holds true for the entire. Yep, there is not a group on my little notepad that has a game that is either not yet scheduled or yet to be played. So always adds a little bit of excitement. Anyway,
mhm.
as we take a look at this, as I take a look at commercial group C, sort of round out our discussion of this tier. Oh hi Vega gifting another sub. we're 91 out of 115. So if you want to be the remaining 24, oh, that's another one. Okay, if you want to be the remaining 23 subs to hit our goal of 115, just do it. Just, I don't know, just do it.
I'm looking at people that I know in chat, and I'm like, doesn't have a sub badge. Let's get that fixed.
Yeah, that's Bear TV coming in with the 5 gifted subs as well. Bear TV, thank you very much for your investment in the low budget LCS. You've heard this spiel a few times before, but you're gonna hear it one more time. Thank you for being the latest investor in the low budget LCS. You can join us for the board meetings at the Denny's in Vermont, where we are recording this very episode. The Denny's in Vermont, that's our stew, and we're labbing. So that's that's what the kids say these days, isn't it? I don't know.
Is
Uh,
it? Is
No,
it?
Jack, you have so much Riz.
Yeah, I'm got
Oh
skibbity Riz.
my!
Got.
Oh,
So-
We're playing Booth Dress to Impress after this episode.
It's taking all of my willpower not to leave this voice call right now.
I'm incredibly sorry for everybody that had to hear that, and I think what we should do is just move on.
Yes.
I agree.
The guy saying, I'm giving up on this league. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Dos Pesos coming in with the subscription. Thank you for being the latest investor in the low budget LCS. You can join us for the board meetings at the Denny's in Vermont. You just head around back, talk to our buddy Todd. He's the assistant manager, and he can let you in. And as always, pancakes are on us. Yep, that's your membership fee. You got it. Correct. All right. Looking at commercial group C, it looks like we have only one match left to be played, and of course it's the match where technically 3 of the 4 of us are involved, because it's my org plus Vega's org, and Val's on the team.
But it's scheduled.
But it is scheduled.
It is scheduled. This game is happening.
It's happening Sunday at 9:30. So tomorrow.
Bear, did you hear that? This game's
tomorrow-
scheduled.
Tomorrow, very, very late.
Yes. Maybe I think it is the last game of the
I
week.
think so. Yeah.
It's only 8:30 for me.
Well,
Just
it's
keep it early.
9:30 for East Coast, Beast Coast, so I don't know what to tell you.
That's right.
Anyway,
East Coast, if it's like
we've-
30 minutes before your bedtime.
we've got okay. That's because I'm old
That's not our
and
fault.
I get sleepy. So I don't know what to
That's
tell
why
you.
we have one degen owner and one responsible owner, and that
That's
Jack
true.
goes to bed at a decent time, and I go to bed at 1 a.m. and
So
get up
together
at 7
we
for work.
cover we cover most of the hours.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What's up?
We've got 3 matches played here, 2 2-0s and 1 2-1. So tell me a little bit about how these matches went, about what we might be learning from them, and about just thoughts. Just dispense upon me your thoughts.
I hate to break it, but Less Force's initial hypothesis about Naughty Dogs has immediately been proven wrong because they won a 3-game series.
Well, now, for a hypothesis to be like disproven, right? Isn't like the scientific method like 3? Like it has to happen 3 times.
Yeah, we have
No,
to
that's
test
not
it.
the
one-
scientific method.
No, but like the same logic applies, right? Like once it's a fluke,
But
second.
there's not logic in the first place.
No,
You know what, Les Force? I'm on board with you. I think we need more data. We can't just react to one sample, okay? Also, when was this game played? What time of day? That's very important to this hypothesis.
True. The lake
That's-
is like
we need
I
to
mean, I'm not going to say that there's not day drinking happening, but I'm just saying I feel like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. But what I do know we can say from a small data sample size is that Tiny Shoes X has subscribed to the low budget LCS. Thank you for being the latest investor. The board meetings are at the Denny's in Vermont. You can head around back and talk to our buddy Todd. He's the assistant manager there, and he can let you in. Pancakes are on us, and if you get here quick enough, maybe you'll get your voice heard on the booth. Who knows? Maybe that'll be something we do in the future. I don't know. We're cooking. We're chefing. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, Luffy saying I was so very, very so too sober, which is not
Does
the
look
most.
like-
That's not the most sober of sentences. But you know what? It's 4:43 on a Saturday, so that's basically 5 o'clock. So it's basically time to drink.
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock.
Sure.
I'm certain somewhere. Anyway.
me housing a Corona on webcam while Jack's giving a point about is it almost time to drink?
Yeah. I mean, maybe we're not. maybe we're not role models. I mean, not that we
No,
ever necessarily
when you're
were
an
in the
adult,
first place, but
when you're an adult, you can responsibly drink. You're an adult. There's nothing wrong with being a responsible adult.
The LBLCS is literally sponsored by a coriander. Like,
Yeah,
that's a good point.
if
That's a good point.
anything,
And our catchphrase is "It takes two to tango." So I don't know. Dos Pesos saying shots in the chat, which is it's a person after my own heart. So I can really appreciate that. And Bot Logi contributing 2,960 schmecks to the post bail challenge. So we are currently in jail. Buggleberry
Yeah,
Finn
we are
has
currently in jail.
jailed us. So if you would be so kind as to contribute to our bail, then you can sort of spend some of your schmecks in that way.
Schmecks.
So yeah, just enjoy
I
that.
don't like that. No.
Loki Aurora putting in the chat. Did you know that being a night owl is a great part of a prehistorical community? You naturally stay up late and are able to watch for danger, tend the fire, and keep people safe. Yeah, I promise you, when I'm up late, I'm doing none of those things. I am the danger.
Jesus.
can I do a
Christ.
weird aside real fast?
Yes, always.
This is gonna take more time away from these games, but this has nothing to do with League of Legends, but only to do with that take by Loki. I just recently watched a TikTok about it's one of those things where girls send in things about their boyfriends and they read like, "Hey, is this normal?" Blah blah blah. And it's about her. They went thrifting and their boyfriend found like an old timey lantern. And ever since he bought it, he was getting up in the middle of the night multiple times and saying he had to go for the watch. And he was walking around their house with the lantern lit, saying, "All is safe. There are dangers in the dark." And all I could think watching it was, wow, you're writing in about this when this guy's protecting you. He's looking for dangers in the dark at night. He has a
Yeah.
hobby.
Like, I don't understand what the problem is.
And Loki's take made me think like, wow, that guy should read this. This would be appreciated.
Yeah. Maybe he's vindicated.
Yeah, that's all I got, guys.
Maybe we're the weird ones.
I'm gonna disagree on that one, but like I
Yeah.
see where you're coming from.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
fair.
It depends on level of weird. I think we're fine.
Yeah.
But to circle it back, I think, and one thing I've noticed when we talk about commercial through every group is that commercial, probably more than any other league, is the league we feel the least confident in saying like definitively there's like a top and bottom and middle. It feels like there's so many teams in each group that I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, if you told me 6 weeks from now that team was undefeated and like looking at like being top of the group, I would probably agree with it. So I do think that like seeing TFF Blue like beat Louisiana Tech Bulldogs is a little bit of like an upset in my mind, but then at the same time I'm
Yeah.
like, well, commercials just kind of like that across the groups, and it's like, you know, I'm not really sure how to pin any team in these groups outside of, hey, if anything for the Naughty Dog series, I take a lot from OE Outlaws taking that series to 3 games and be like, hey,
Yeah,
that was
that's
close.
huge.
And yeah, like them being that close in that series means a lot for other teams watching them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, punching up at our S tier teams like that when it's so early in the season, like that is pretty impressive. Luffy saying they stomped us game 2, so apparently it wasn't close. So I'm super excited to see how this you know continues to shake out, and I totally agree with you. The like commercial as like a league generally can be pretty damn volatile. So that's what makes it very exciting to watch, in my opinion. What else do we have to say about Commercial Group C before we cross over the halfway point and start looking at our financial teams?
I know Vega like touched on it a little bit, but I think of the wins, I think it was like most telling that TFF Blue 2-0 the Bulldogs, because that, granted, it's not 1-to-1 the same roster made semifinals last season, but LA Tech did make semifinals last season, and in week 1, I mean, new team to the league. Again, we don't know if they've got experience in the past, but they look really good. Pretty decisive in both games, so maybe that's a team that we gotta maybe keep an eye on going into the next couple weeks. I'm just pulling up the schedule just to see who they're going to be facing off, and they're going to be taking on Old Man Land, who also had a pretty decisive 2-0. So that should be a really good game.
Yeah, old man land. So like again, like it's one of those things where like in week 2, two teams that like won handily 2-0 are facing each other now. So it's like it's some mano a mano kind of combat there. So I'm excited to sort of see how things shake out. Get your matches scheduled. That way we can type them onto the streaming document, and then you have a chance to get put on the big screen, um, whether it's from your normal streamers or whatever else might happen. Um, anyway, so do we feel ready to cross the event horizon and start looking at our financial groups?
Yeah.
Just, I mean, just as like a bookend to commercial, looks insane this season. Looks like it's going to be an extremely fun division to watch.
I completely agree. Oh, I see how that's going. I'm still learning OBS, so like I'm seeing now that like sometimes things change over and sometimes they don't. But anyway, we're looking at our financial standings for week 1 now for financial group A. Vega is raising his hand ever so politely. Go ahead, sir.
So I'll just be the first to come out, and we're wrong sometimes on this show,
Yeah.
and sometimes we make takes, and
Yeah.
we're just not right. Like we just sometimes we miss, and I just want to be the first to say we miss. Okay, not to say these teams can't bounce back. I do have total faith in the teams that lost, but shout out to Big Dig Summer and Team Secret Lair. 2-0s over the 2 teams we put at the top of this group, and it wasn't like we said like Monkeys and LR, like, oh, it's going to be pretty tight. We were pretty confident that those 2 teams would be top of this group. And there were some not so close games also. Personally, Big Dig Summer, I thought played extremely well against a team that we faced the roster last season, only dropped 1 series, I believe, and that was in playoffs. So that's real. That's insane. And as far as the team building confidence, like coming in and beating a team who did not drop a regular season game this split 4 is crazy good. So yeah, just shout out to those teams. And hey, we were wrong. And this is a great example. If you saw our predictions and you were like, hey, I didn't, agree with what they said, this is the best way to prove us wrong. Is to just go out and let your play to talk. Because we will give you your flowers and crown if you prove us wrong. And this is it. Like Big Dick Summer, Secret Lair, like we underrated you guys. You guys were sick in week 1.
Yeah. Floored us good.
Yeah, well, as might be pretty well evident at this point, I have no problem being wrong on account of how often I am wrong. So yeah, like absolutely, like if you see yourself sort of get ranked in the A, B, or sort of dark horse tiers, prove us wrong. Go do it. We love that. We hope to light a fire under your butts, and sort of give you the juice you need. And it seems like Big Dig Summer and Team Secret Lair took up the challenge. It looks like we have Prater Zach in the chat from TSL. So just there's your congratulations right there. Well done. Taking out one of our S tier teams. What do we think that this might say for the rest of the group then? If the 2 teams where we felt so confident were S tier, drop their first series 0-2 against teams that we did not necessarily predict to top the group.
So I don't immediately want to cop out and take away from Team Secret Lair in their 2-0 over Monkeys, but when I look at the roster that the Monkeys were fielding, that is not the roster that when I was making my claim for Monkeys. I don't see Billy Cheese Pizza, I don't see Teddy Bear and so maybe it was a busy week for them. They couldn't play. They had to utilize their subs. Again, this is more of a like I want to give Monkey some time. Like I want to see like A, was this just a sub lineup, and then B, if it is going to be their starting lineup going forward, like do they just need that time to kind of gel different players in different roles? No, I mean I think as far as like the Big Dig Summer though, they looked really really good in their series.
Yeah. And Prater Zach sort of confirming they had an off top in support. Their top laner had an injury, so top laner moved to injury list. We've
And I think
the substitute.
Moving to the IR.
We talked about that a little bit in preseason, right? That like it was kind of similar for Monkeys last season when their main starting 5 was on. They were insane, but it was keeping that starting 5 together that was the question mark for them. But yeah, like it's week 1. Obviously, like things are gonna happen, and a lot of people have it when you're coming off your summer schedule into playing. I know this from dealing with 5 teams. that getting people into that rhythm of the once a week game. Week one's usually the hardest week, right? Of getting like, okay, we're going to be doing this weekly. You got to start making plans for this, or like, things happening. So I would not read into it too much.
Yeah. If you're a team captain, shout out to you. And if you're not a team captain, here's the best thing that you can do for your team captain is respond to scheduling questions. Answer them,
Oh,
give us your
yes.
availability. Just let us know. It's not hard. You can screenshot your calendar for the week and send it my way. Like not just to me, but like to your
Send
captain.
it to Jack.
No, send them to Jack.
Even if you're not
Just,
even if you're not
yeah,
on
just
Pentacore,
send it to me.
even if you're not on that team, send
I'll
it to him.
send it back with notes on like recommendations. But yeah, anyway, so Luffy saying, "Hey Jack, I'm available tonight. Tough luck, bud. I am not."
Oh, ooh.
However, I'm free all day tomorrow, so hee hee. Anyway, yeah, that's the best way that you can support your captain is by responding to those scheduling prompts. And this is not totally directed at thy ducky lord, but it's not directed at thy ducky lord. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Yeah.
it's if you are
If Seer's
monkeys.
watching this stream, he's gonna rat on you. By the way.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. If you are monkeys or needlessly large rods, and you are normally sort of used to being at the top, or even potentially not dropping a regular season game, and then you come in and you drop your first 2 games.
It's over.
What do you do?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god. What do you do? What do your comms look like? Like what does a review session need to look like in order for your team to start to move forward? Yeah, go ahead, Vega.
I think a lot of times, especially for really good teams that have success, a week 1 loss can almost be the best thing. Much better than like a later in the season loss, because now you kind of get the tone of like, okay, what we were trying kind of needs to be reassessed. We need to reassess like our, work, what we're working on in practice. And an early season loss a lot of times doesn't really matter, right? Like, not to say like, wins always matter if you can get them in your column, but the best time to lose is the beginning of the season where you could fix things and build good habits going forward, right? So now you can review a game and be like, hey, we had the series where things didn't go right. We know we have the talent, obviously, on both of these teams to compete. It's just like, hey, let's rip that Band-Aid off early in the season instead of getting in that, oh, we lost our last game of the season and we're going into playoffs on kind of a slump. We're getting this out of the way early in the season. We can build good habits now that will carry us throughout.
So it almost sounds like what you're saying is that these week 1 losses are like formative experiences for these teams that are so used to being on top. Taking these losses in week 1 kind of gives them some motivation to start looking forward with a little bit more intention.
Yeah, and to kind of step outside of like just like analyst role here and speak to kind of as someone who's worked as a coach a lot of times, I think it says a lot about your team how you respond to a week 1 loss. And you can kind of tell the kind of team you have is if a week 1 loss motivates your team, that is a really good sign of like, hey, we lost week 1, but hey, let's do it. Let's get back at it. If your team is having strife early in the season, that's a good sign to like, hey, reevaluate like your approach to it, make sure everybody's on the same page, things like that, because it is week 1. Like I know we say like every week matters, and it does absolutely.
For sure.
But if you had to rank them, week 1 is the learning week. That's everyone's week of getting used to things. So this is your week to like, hey, even if you win matches, it's a good idea to reassess. Like, hey, we won, but did we have good habits? Did we feel prepped for this game? Things like that. So I think for anybody coming out of week 1, you should be, hey, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? How do we do the right things each week following them?
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying with that. And I think it speaks to sort of like your team's character to like how you sort of bounce back on that.
Yeah, and I mean I could say last season I coached a team that went 0-4 to 4-4 in playoffs. Like as long as you're getting better every single week, that should be the goal, right? And obviously you want to win every match you go into, but as long as you're doubling down on good habits and saying like, hey, we did this right this week, we did this wrong. Next week we want to do the right things, continue to do right and not do the wrong, and you're building on it, you'll be fine. I think overreacting to week 1's a bad idea for any team, good or bad.
Yeah, totally agree. I think okay. It looks like we've got what's happening. Oh, Panther Court Ghosts has their match like literally scheduled like as we were hitting the go live button. So that's on Tuesday night next week. But Naughty Question Marks versus Weez and Sons have yet to post their match schedule, or yet to schedule it. Hopefully it's the former, not the latter. I'm a Weez and Sons stan, so I've got them coming out on top on that one. But we shall see what happens. What other thoughts do we have about Financial Group A before we start cruising on over to the B?
I don't think there's much to say, right? We just need to see these.
Yeah.
I think there's
These
what
are-
it's
these are
on
the
Tuesday,
matches.
right? Tuesday's the ghosts. That should be a good one.
Yeah.
That should be a good one. I think that's going to be an interesting match to figure out what we're talking, because those are two teams that we didn't rank as high as others. So I think it could be interesting to see what if one of them comes out smashing the other. Then I think we kind of look. We can kind of look at it a different way.
I agree. All right. Well, we'll look forward to those matches, and hopefully the Naughty and Weez and Sons match can get scheduled soon. But while they schedule that match, let's take a look on over to Financial Group B. And I have our tier list here. This is the one where, oh wow, only one match has been played so far, and I think the other three. No, only two. So two other matches have been scheduled at 8 and 8:30 p.m. on Sunday night. So that's tomorrow night. I keep forgetting Sunday's tomorrow. That's crazy. And the Naughty Narwhals versus Beer and Snacks, which is our financial match of the week, to be determined when that will get scheduled. So hopefully that gets scheduled soon so that we can sort of get a sense of whether or not that's our. So that's two matches of the week that have not been scheduled, or maybe just not been played. This has not been scheduled.
Mhm.
Commercial was not played. So we
Yeah.
shall see where the other
Yeah, I feel
predictions
way better.
shake out. Yeah. So we'll see where these predictions shake out, but I don't. Duolingo Owl is my favorite opponent I have ever played against, hands down. It is not close. Like
He's a goat.
actually
He's the
the
goat.
goat.
Mhm.
Basically like a psychopath on the Rift, and I mean that as like in the highest regard. So
I mean, I'm sure you'd appreciate it as a fellow psychopath on the
I
Rift.
am also a fellow
Yep.
psychopath on the Rift, just usually to my team, not the enemy team. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, it was a good match. I had fun.
I mean, I don't know if you saw in the Twitch chat at all. There was an obscene amount of Schmeckles being bet.
Yeah.
On PCH, I think youngster Joey put 250K down both games 2 and 3, and I don't know if he made a ton of money because the odds were not in his favor, but I'm sure he's a big fan of the PC Highlanders right now.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
Joey, you're welcome. You can buy me a drink the next time we see each other, and then that'll even it up at least like a tenth of the way. So yeah. I
Proper
told
conversion rate's
Bear was one of the co-casters, and I told him that I didn't watch the stream, but I did. I was just being goofy with him. And I couldn't help but notice that there was a lot of flame coming from him on that one. So I don't know, just observing.
That's how it is.
Anyway,
The Rel was pretty baller.
Mo Bamba, yeah, that was a good game. Mo Bamba is
I'm
the most
telling-
overpowered song. Like, we lost game 1, and Vega texted me and was like, "You cannot lose," and then sent me the link to Mo Bamba. Oh my
Is that why? Oh, dude, we were in a scrim. I think last night.
It's my
Vega
Discord
joined-
joining sound. It's my
It's
Discord
his
joining.
Discord join sound. So we're in the middle of a scrim,
High
and we
pressure
just
moment.
hear.
They're
He
like,
just
high pressure
comes
moment.
in.
I joined. It's like I go.
Yeah, I apologize for any hearing loss that
No,
happened. It's not my fault.
That's the you know, we want you guys to have the stadium presence of how loud it is, the
Yeah.
pressure of Mobamba. But yeah, if your team's losing, you go down game 1, you just join the call, you play Mobamba, your team's gonna be locked in game 2.
I cannot believe you set that to your Discord join sound.
It's not just me, it's all of Soy Milk. So we joined, it sounds
just
absolutely
all-
terrible.
okay.
It's playing, and we added if everybody has it turned down now, we also added, just to add to the stadium presence, just some stadium noise to help, So the whole time we're drafting, I asked that they play that to emulate that we're in like a professional environment and like it's hard to hear. I'm like, you what? What?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
well, that's an idea.
Pressure makes diamonds. Okay.
What kind of
Or-
idea it is, I don't know.
Or it makes teams to go 0-1 week 1.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh well.
We'll find out whenever
Uh,
a milk team plays.
Yeah, whenever they decide to schedule a match.
None have played. None of the 5.
None of the 5. 0 for 5.
There is one. We're gonna get to it, but there
Tonight.
is one in 2 hours. There is one. Yeah.
That is true. That is true. One of our very few Saturday matches. Anyway. Yeah. It was a good match. I had fun. I think I'm in love with Duolingo Owl. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. The rest of this group,
In
I'm excited
one
to see how
date.
it shakes out. Especially, well, actually, all 3 of the matches I think are going to be interesting. We've got our dark horse versus one of the teams that we think is going to be quite strong, the 5 Musketeers. We've got the match of the week, the Narwhals versus Beer and Snacks, coming down from Executive, and then we've got the Live Wires, which is our S tier team versus Talking Ben Esports, which is where we have sort of like bottom of bubble. So 3 very cool matches. Yeah, TDS is great. I think they're a fantastic addition to the league. Anyway, what else do we want to talk about within Financial Group B before we move over to Financial Group C?
I don't know. I mean, only one game to play. Only so much to say, right? I mean, if you didn't catch the stream live with Buggleberry, I'd highly recommend going and checking out the VOD. And then hopefully we come back next week and I'm able to talk about how much fun I had week 1, right?
Yes, I am excited to do that. I was just reading a message, first time chat from Broken Glass Game. The lives. I can read, I promise. It's like, who is that celebrity who was accused of not being able to read? Was it the? It was,
he's a
was it-
boxer.
Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, Floyd Mayweather.
50
I was
Cent
thinking.
said-
I was thinking of the Leah Michelle from Glee.
Oh.
That's
Very
what I
different
was thinking of,
directions.
which is a very different
Very
direction, but you know what? You know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't maintain a straight persona, and the gay leaks out.
I
little bit.
I won't play it, but I do have the audio. I do have the soundboard in Discord of him saying, "I'll give you $50,000
I'll
for
give
one
you
chapter, one chapter from a Harry Potter book."
Anyways, the Live Wires is the name of one of the teams you can get
Why
in
do
the
I-
game. The finals, is that intentional? And now that I'm thinking about it, I think the answer might be yes, because Praetorian, who is, I think, like captain or at least on the Live Wires,
He is on the live wires,
introduced
and
me
so
to
is
the game,
Verja.
the finals. So I
Yeah.
think that's true.
I'm pretty sure that's where the team name came from.
That's
It was
Yeah, I
gonna be
was gonna say
temporary,
this.
and then it just stuck.
It's a good
It
name.
never
It's a good name.
was. And Verja, I don't think Les Force agrees with you.
Great
It's
name.
grown on me. It's grown on me a
All-time
little
name.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
That is a fun game. Maybe I'll go play a little bit of that. I don't know. Probably
It
play
is fun.
Swarm. Anyway, yep. I'm excited to see how these matches shake up, and we can talk about that on our next episode, unless they don't get scheduled. In which case, I don't know. We'll just cry. Let's move on to Financial Group C as we sort of dab away our tears. What did I do? What I didn't do
Dab away your tears.
is
Dab away.
where are the Financial C standings? There they are. Yeah. Okay. Financial Group C standings. Another milk team that's yet to play their game. I don't know what's going on.
They
with
play
that
tomorrow at 4:00.
org.
All of our we're like everybody else. We're playing on Sunday. Okay. Okay,
All I'm saying is
3/5 are scheduled. The
Okay.
majority of milk teams are scheduled. Also, we're undefeated.
They haven't taken a loss yet.
that's technically true. No one plays at 4 p.m. I don't believe it. Yeah, well, believe it or not, Luffy, sometimes you can play when you're not yet drunk.
Yeah.
So
Also,
that was
they're
hard
all
for
in
me to
California.
believe,
So
but yeah. Oh, they're on California. They're in Cali time. So
they're playing at 1 p.m.
that's nuts.
What's wrong with them?
You do something at 1 p.m. on a Sunday, the rest of your day is over. And your
Yeah.
morning is over. Because you
Yeah.
can't do anything because you have something at 1. And then you do
No, it's
something at
not.
1.
Because I have something at 9:30 p.m. on Sunday to follow it up.
Oh, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, there you go.
Nice job.
I love when things
Anyway,
flow right into each other.
so half of these games in this group have been played here. Specifically, Gerk's Crew versus the CLG Plunderers. So that's one of our, not only a new team, another one of these double whammies, a new team and a Dark Horse team. And then we have Team Volatility, yet to be named, versus the Gentlemen, which is our J team, which as a J name, I'm a fan of that. Vega,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I just want to give a shout out to Bear for that series, the Volatility Gentleman series. I mean, I've never seen the Shy and Bear in a room at the same time, but that was a very Shy-esque performance. I mean,
Is that
Bear
why the score
kind
is
of
2-1?
Bad way.
okay. There's only so much top lane can do, right? Like, okay, you win 2 out of 3, you're doing pretty good. Okay, but Bear had an insane series. Like that was actually a series of like, if there were any Bear doubters, point them to that series. He's absolutely crushing in those games. Like every
Wow,
time you
yeah,
hear a top
you are
laner be
right.
like, I don't think we need to ban Aatrox. I think it's fine. Point into that series and watch it and be like, yeah, dude, what happens to this?
Yeah, that series was streamed, if I remember correctly. So the VOD of that is also on YouTube. I have taken it upon myself to make sure that every stream from this season gets uploaded. And if I miss one, maybe I'll let my booth co-hosts like tar and feather me or something. I don't know.
Oh my god.
But
Can they get
pie me.
anything
No,
else?
pie me. Pie
Can
me.
they
Pie
get
me.
anything else?
Pie me.
No,
You
I
can
heard
pie.
more, I
You
heard
can pie
more.
me. You can pie me. Never mind. That was the only thing I was thinking pie, but what came out of my mouth was tar and feather.
Stop.
So I
Okay,
don't.
I thought you were gonna say something.
What?
No,
thought
just
you were gonna
continue.
say
Just
something
continue.
different, too.
Just continue. Let's talk about Group C.
Yeah. So if I miss one of these things, then my booth co-casters can cream pie me. But if we're looking at Group C here, we've got the Gerk's Crew. I have no more co-hosts anymore. We've got the Gerk's Crew taking a 2-0 over the CLG Plunderers. And it's I've lost my whole crew here, so there's no more analysis to be done, which is a little unfortunate because I can't do that.
Well, that's crazy. I
Oh,
mean, like,
thank
I'm
God.
here.
Oh, thank
You know,
God.
we got at
Thank
least
God.
one. Got at least one.
Thank God. All right, so Les Forrest, since you're the, it seems like you're willing to be with me for
Yep.
this. Uh,
I'll stand with you in these trying
it's
times.
trying times. Tell me a little bit about Gerk's Crew versus CLG Plunderers.
Yeah, I mean that's actually the match that I was just kind of looking at in the scoreboard. It just looks like the Gerk's crew kind of played a pretty strong game consistently throughout. I mean, despite the kill count being pretty even in game number 2, it looks like the gold pretty solidly in favor of the Gerk's crew. Looks like Dryan playing really well in the 80 carry role. They played to protect on the Misfortune and the Jinx. And it looks like they kind of just shut down a lot of what CLG wanted to do. Again, we're not gonna overreact like crazy to one series, but that is a team that we put in the Dark Horse category. And you know the Plunderers were kind of in that solid A tier, so maybe Gersh Crew is a team we should be maybe looking to move up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I kind of want to echo Vega's sentiment from, I think, like, honestly, like Economy A, where it's like, let's not overreact to week 1. However, that is a pretty dominant showing in week 1. So
Yeah.
I'm, definitely something for us to pay attention to here.
Although a camp actually in chat is saying that they had an 8k gold lead and took Baron at 20 minutes. So maybe it wasn't quite as decisive. Maybe that's the game too, where the kill count was very even, but the gold swung super heavy.
Yeah. Looks like that. Yeah. The old Baron
We've all
throw.
been there.
We've all been there. Yeah, that's why, like, in solo queue, like, no matter how far behind I am, I'm like, I have lost games where I've been on the enemy's position, so I think we should stick it out. And I happen to just lose every time, but I think that's my fault. Anyway, I've been rejoined by Val and Vega, who have gotten over my remarks for now. So what would you guys like to add to our discussion around Financial Group C before we look to the last group in this league?
Kind of similar to some of the other groups where we have games remaining. I think Buttermilk and Team Fried Chicken both are playing. I need to check Team Fried Chicken's schedule, but no, Buttermilk plays tomorrow. I think we'll learn a lot about this group from that. But I do think this is a group where, like, watching volatility, I think they're even though it's a 2-1 series, like, you see the ceiling, and it's like, oh, when this team's on, I very much think they join that group at the top. And Gerkshire really did impress me in their games, because even being down 8 game, being able to bring a game back is a skill in and of itself, to like stay mentally in a game, to be able to come back and stuff like that, because you're going to get down in games. But on the opposite side, for CLG Plunder, it's like, I think they're a very good team, and I think that there will be a team that a week 1 loss will mean the most to, like in this group, that they'll take the most from a loss like this and be able to like point to things and work on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see Team Fried Chicken play. And I actually, like, that's, funnily enough, like the only match that I don't have a note about. Has that been scheduled? Is the answer no?
I don't know.
Team Fried Chicken, they are scheduled to play at 8 p.m. Sunday.
Okay.
Like every other team in the league.
Yeah, everybody else. Yeah, the modal time is like Sunday at 8 p.m.
Sunday, 8 p.m.
Sunday, 8 p.m. Sunday. And sometimes Saturday.
Yeah.
And sometimes Saturday.
Sometimes Saturday.
Really, it was Friday this week. But...
Pastor Job is saying it's tomorrow at 8 p.m. So, yep, it has indeed been scheduled.
Yeah, sounds like tomorrow at 8 p.m.
I'm excited to see it. Whenever it is, I don't know. I've never been told.
Someone in chat said tomorrow at 8 p.m.
I don't know.
Is that on the schedule?
It is actually on the schedule, and I guess that was just one of the
on the schedule.
Wow.
Yes.
Someone in chat said tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Yeah, actually. I don't know if you saw
what did
that
somebody
yet.
in
Is
chat
that
say?
confirmed? Do we know that person's on the team? Is that confirmed that it's tomorrow at 8 p.m.?
I checked the sheet
is
on
it-
the stream. So
is it in the sheet?
Yeah, the sheet says 8 p.m.
Well, someone in chat said tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Well, that's so that's what the sheet says. Wait, are those the same thing?
Well, no, that
Yeah, I
person
think so.
is not the sheet. That's a human being typing in chat.
Oh, we didn't get the budget for the AI sheet yet.
This is not an AI schedule.
Yeah, no, we're not that. We're pretty low budget here.
Watching Jack slowly now be like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I've caught on. I've caught on to your tricks.
He caught on, yeah. Caught pretty quick.
Yeah, he was like, nope, not getting sucked into this.
Yeah, nope. You fool me once, shame on you.
Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you.
Fool me, can't get fooled again.
God, I hate that. I hate George Bush.
Right on, Jake Cole.
Yeah, that's just
was
an
very
official,
random, but
official
just go
booth
there.
take. We hate George W. Bush.
Dude, I played a game of League last night against a guy named George W. Bush, and I think that's a great name. I think that's an all-time name.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Anyways,
I think we should move on. Anything else that we want to mention on Financial Group D?
No.
Well, we got to get to D.
this is Group C.
Oh, anything else we want to mention in Financial Group C?
Nah, I'm
Nope.
good. I think we've...
Team Fried Chicken plays
Covered it.
tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
Fried Chicken plays
if
tomorrow
you
at 8.
don't remember that, then I don't know what.
It's on you at that point.
Anyways,
Yeah.
at that point, that's on you. All right, let's look at the D here, where 3 out of the 4 matches have been played, and wouldn't you believe it?
It's
Milk
today. Okay, it's today.
team hasn't played it.
We like to build up suspense.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that what you call it?
we're the only team in this group who hasn't played. How is that possible?
You guys could have been the good group.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't allow it.
Unlucky. So anyway, we've got a couple of 2-0s here and 1-2-1. So the Nice Narwhals pulling the 2-1 over the Outsiders, Chaos with a 2 over TTP, and High Alert Nightmares taking I love it when a team like an org has like the org name and then like a specific team name
Oh
after
my
that. I
god.
think that like that it just makes everything so
You are
much cleaner.
so
Me
Him might
too.
have
petty.
him
Me
might have
too.
an aneurysm.
You are
I
so
agree. I
petty.
could not agree more. Maybe the
Thanks.
Oh my
greatest
god.
organization in history, SKT, when they had like K and S, I was like, oh my god, so good. It's so good because I could tell who's who.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
it's nice. It's great.
crazy.
And then you're not playing favorites. It's just there's so many reasons to do it. It's just a miracle that anybody doesn't do it. Anyway, High Alert Nightmares taking the 2-0 over Strix. What do we need to know about this group?
What you need to know is that Tarded and Clickbait God are two of the scariest top laners I've ever had to like look at, be in the same like vicinity of. These
Both got
guys are
pentas.
terrifying. Both got like uh both of them actually had pentas in this group. Like both of them in their series had pentas. Um
Yeah.
yeah.
Bear is just throwing so many messages in the chat.
Holy
I
moly.
don't know what to say about
I
it.
felt special, but now I feel less special.
I don't know that what I feel would be special. It's not necessarily the label that I might use for it.
Okay.
And I'm not going to
Threatened,
explore
perhaps?
what label I would. So let's go
Let's
ahead.
explore
Okay.
feelings.
Yeah,
Let's
probably gonna
explore our
call.
feelings
We'll
on
circle
this.
back.
We'll table that and we'll circle back to it. So let's see here. So we've got Nightmares doing S tier team things.
Mhm.
Here's the cool thing: the Narwhals, one of our dark horse teams, taking a dub over the Outsiders. So what do we think of that? Like, do we feel like we have enough information about the Narwhals to sort of slot them into one of our SAB tiers, or do we feel like we're still sort of on the like question mark dark horsiness where it's like, was this a fluke? Was this a fluke in the sense that it was just 2-1 and not a stomp 2-0? Was this accurate
Mhm.
to where we feel like we can sort of start to pin down their skill level? Um, what do we think here? Go ahead, Vega.
Don't make me point to the sign. It's week 1. So I will say that this is great. That's a great win, especially for a team that we kind of put on the outside of that bubble of where we thought maybe not being a playoff team. It's an awesome win, great momentum, but we need to see a little more. And I think that's fine, you know. It's tough to tell because I think like a lot of the teams now that when if you look at the standings at the end of week 1, it's going to be kind of confusing, right? Because it's going to be like Cincinnati Randall's is 0-2, but it's like, well, Cincinnati Randall's played against High Alert, which we thought was like one of the top teams in the group. So an 0-2 loss to them is not maybe an equivalent to an 0-2 loss to another team. It's similar
Yep.
things. So I think that great for Nice Narwhals. It was a 3-game series. We'll have to see week 2. I think the week 2 matchups are really going to be where a lot of these leagues we get real inroads into telling like who looks like they're really good and who's like had a really good week 1, maybe a good read on the meta. We get a patch next week in the middle of the week. That's going to be big too. So yeah, we'll just have to see.
All right. Yeah. And I think like we have like our interesting matchup, the Chaos versus Trash Pandas here to sort of like the battle of the A tier teams. Chaos coming out fairly handily on top, if I remember correctly. So big ups to them. And you're right, it's just week 1. Valentine and Lessworth, you guys want to add anything else to our commentary around Financial Group D before we jump it up to the big boys and start looking at Executive?
Well, we got the match tonight. Rat Knights against the Strawberry Milk. I think
Yeah.
that's at what 7
7:30.
7:30. That should be really exciting. Gonna be, of course, I'll have to be rooting on my boys.
Yep, obviously makes sense.
Zodiac Memer 6. Sorry, Vega, but for those
That's
couple
fine.
hours, we'll be
It's fine.
enemies. But
That's
you
fine.
know, well, just
Fine.
your face doesn't say that it's like fine, right? It's like you're saying it's fine, but it's like
I'm
not
hurt.
really fine.
I'm really hurt, but it's it is what it is.
Can you guys stop fighting? This feels like home.
Lessworth is normally
Jesus.
my rock. Like Jack and Val attack me a lot, like all the time,
What?
pretty much,
What?
all the time, pretty much. And
Maybe
Lessworth is
Jack. I don't respect you at all.
Lessworth is normally my rock, and to have to go against Lessworth after I got up on my stump and made my speech about Lessworth being the greatest jungler in League of Legends history, and now he's rooting for my downfall hurts a lot.
Dude,
Well,
that's gross.
and
Don't
Val-
talk about
and
your
Jack-
stump, okay?
Jack has sent Val to a milk team to actively, undercut me to make one of our. I'm kidding.
Look, I'll root
That's
for Buttermilk
crazy.
tomorrow. You know, like if they play, like we still don't know if any milk team's gonna play.
Okay,
but,
they're
like,
gonna play. Okay, they're gonna play the game.
I'm not sure if they're
All right.
even real. I mean, has anybody even seen a milk?
Yeah,
I don't know.
If
I've seen one. I've
if
seen
a
one.
tree falls in the woods, no one's around to hear it.
If a milk is poured in a
milk team
glass-
schedules,
Also, I want to
if a
give.
milk team schedules and no one's there to like, and they don't play, do
Did
they
anyone
exist?
lose? Did anyone lose? I want to also give a shout out to our roster verification team. I tried to get myself added as a sub for a team that didn't have enough players, and they turned me down for not playing enough ranked games. So good. That's a good test. You guys are doing your job. Good job, guys.
That's
Shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys.
That's crazy.
In their defense, you have
No,
like 3 ranked
are-
games and you were
They are
masters
doing their
before?
job. They are doing their job as Masters 2 splits before, and I've played 5 ranked games this season where I placed diamond and decayed into Emerald. Was like, you care if I sub for a financial team? And they were like,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
yes, we
Absolutely not.
can.
I was like, you know what?
Good God.
You did your job. I'm proud of you. You guys are doing a good job out here. I feel better about other teams' rosters now that you've done this.
This has the same vibe of like when an old guy goes to play at a basketball park
Mhm.
and he just gets smoked and he's like, y'all know the fundamentals, y'all get it. That's
get it.
that's why I came to
All right.
play. You know what
You
I
know,
mean?
it's all right. It is what it is.
Yeah. My group D point was going to be I think one of the big things that I didn't mention when we first went over the groups, but now that I kind of know what their lineup looks like, the nice narwhal spot lane of a very frightening and little deer. Or they won in economy, had a couple seasons in commercial that went side to side, I think, and now they're in financial.
Mhm.
They held their own pretty damn nicely against the outsider spot lane. I think that could be a really big win for them going into just the rest of the season. Being able to hold your own when you're moving up is like one of the most important things. Especially, I feel like commercial to financial, especially. We've seen a lot of teams take that leap and struggle here and there. I think so. Obviously it helps that Narwhals has a top side filled with absolutely terrifying players, but I think it's super important that and super impressive that very frightening little deer held their own very well in the bot lane. So I'm excited to see how they do the rest of the season.
Would you say that bot lane is very frightening?
Yes, Thunderbolts and Lightning actually.
Yeah. So other
bar,
bot
red light.
lanes,
Bar.
other bot lanes looking at it, might be sort of reacting like a bit like a deer in the headlights. But you know what? Don't worry about it. You can go ahead and make that happen. Clickbait
Good.
God in the chat saying vine ripened banana, and Banana Man replying, bananas grow on trees. Yeah. So no vine ripening for these nanners. Anyway, as we hop off the D and we start looking over at our executive teams here,
Oh wow.
let's go ahead and do a nice little transition over. That was love a transition. Anyway, one of the 3 games has been played in this group. The other 2, one is to be determined. So Glue Eaters versus Goobers Incorporated, to be determined. And then Odin's Eye Gaming versus Loses Improve is scheduled for tonight at 9 o'clock. And that, if anybody remembers, big Booth fans will know, was our executive match of the week. So what do we think is going to happen here?
Play your games, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
If I'm gonna get crap, you're all getting crap. Play your games.
Yeah. You guys carry while I read this.
This is absolutely.
All right. Anyway, what do we think about this matchup between S13E Academy versus I'd honk to that. It was a nice little 2-1 series there. I don't know what else to say. The thing is I can't say why I'm having a hard time putting together sentences. But just understand that it is actually a pretty decent enough reason. So we've got a nice little 2-1 here coming out of S13E. over top of Honk to that. It was they won the first game, lost the second, and then rallied to win game
Mhm.
3 to
Yeah.
take that tiebreaker. What do we need to know about this series? And what it helps us understand a little bit more about how this group and its rankings might shake out over the course of the season.
Am I seeing this right? The kill count was 34-15. They were down 12,000 gold, but the red side took game 1. Am I? I'd
Yeah,
have to go back and look.
I think you're looking at it correctly. I can't tell what happened.
Like I like that's like the most absurd victory screen I think I've ever
can't
seen.
be true. That can't be true. Hold on. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna because I can't. Okay, hold on.
Okay, wait, hang on. So who's on?
Who won?
So
Yeah.
SNE won.
Yes. Well,
And-
SNE Academy.
SNE Academy won.
Wait, game 1.
Who's on SNE Academy?
Holy shit, they did. What?
SNE lost game 1.
No, SNE won game 1.
SNE won the series.
Unless
They
these
were-
screenshots are out of order.
I mean, no, but like
Well, still, like the screenshots, like
It's a
still
big-
all
Oh,
it's the same
well, like they
scoreboard.
had to
Yeah.
have.
Like
they did in fact they in the face of an 11-2 year and a 10-0 Yone.
yeah. Let's
Okay,
see.
so it's not game
I-
1 that this happened.
S-
but-
S-
Hold on.
Hold on.
Loremus
It did
is saying,
happen.
"I promise I'm the jungle for SNE, and we lost game 1."
okay,
Well, that makes a
wait,
lot more
I'm-
sense.
okay, from our okay,
Screenshots were
okay,
sent from the
okay,
coaches.
Oh,
okay,
I feel like
okay.
that's-
Oh,
That
so they just
makes
want to
sense.
dupe us, I guess.
God, that confused the shit out of me.
All right,
I was
hang on.
like,
I'm
what the
not gonna
fuck?
lie. That really got me. Okay,
Yeah,
and then you
hang on.
guys. Okay,
so
that
game
makes sense.
1. Game 1 has
Yeah.
the Udyr and the Corki.
Yeah.
But so-
Okay, that makes sense. I got very confused. You have to understand. I was about
Alright.
to lose my mind.
All right. Anyway,
That would have been such an insane thing.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
reality.
so this might be a good argument in favor of the captain taking this post game screenshots from their match history, not from the post game lobby. Just for clarity, helps us know things and make sure that your screenshots are posted in order. That way, folks are sort of able to match different things up. The draft links help with that, but so that a little less exciting than we thought it was going to be, but at the same time, pretty good stuff. So we
Yep.
see SNE Academy taking the win over Honk to that. Both teams who are new, and B, we kept them in the A tier. SNE a little above Honk to that. So what do we think? What do we think? Like, does this sort of help us lock tier rankings down a little bit more, or do we feel like Vega is pointing to the sign and saying it's just week 1, we can't overreact? What's going on here?
It's hard for this group because only one match has been played. Like obviously, like that's very important. I think 2 teams that were kind of in what we'll call the soup in the middle there that we
Mhm.
thought like be in the mix, and getting a win over a team that you're going to be competing for a playoff spot with is always very important. But yeah, I'll point to the sign for each of these where we don't have like a definitive how the group played out yet. Is it's week 1. It seemed like it was a really close series, so that means probably both these teams are pretty similar in skill. You're always curious in best of 3. How much that matters for side reference. How much does the swapping back and forth matter. But good job, SNE Academy. Getting the win in week 1, putting themselves in that 1-0 column. Staying undefeated for now, and being able to move on. And for Honk to that, it's a tough loss. 1-2, but it is week 1. You get to move on, learn from that matchup, and you're still in the mix there in the middle.
Absolutely.
I will say, like, despite yes, it is week 1. If there is one team, like, I feel like I'd rather propel up SNE Academy because, like, and I think I talked about this last week on the booth, or maybe I was talking with someone off the air about it. But like in these 3-game series, like if it's 1-1 going into that game 3, I always feel like it's the team who wins game 2, like surges in that game 3. And like you're looking at the scoreboard, like SNE Academy won game 2, and then they just rolled in that game number 3. They carried that momentum. And so like I think that is what like really for Honk to that, like they just got unlucky the fact that it was 1-1 hit and they won game 1. They couldn't really nothing they could do about that.
Yeah. But
So like
you could
it's
win the second game instead of the first.
well, yeah. I mean, maybe next time they like plan to win game 2 instead,
Yep.
like instead of game 1. But no, I think
I like that strategy.
it's yeah. I mean, it just guarantees victory if you get to that game 3. Yeah, I mean, maybe S&E Academy. We'll see kind of what next week is looking like when they take on Broken Household, who was in semifinals last season. If they win that series, I think they're probably going to be in that S tier pretty confidently.
Okay. And we have Glue Eaters, the top of our list, yet to play. And yet to even schedule. So get on that, guys. That's the last team that we have that has not yet scheduled their match. Unless we're talking about sort of any milk team, which is just kind of in this weird ambivalent liminal space where we're not
Hey,
sure.
you're co-owner of one of these teams. Can you not help schedule at least one of the games?
No.
Okay.
You have a general manager, so go ahead.
Okay.
You do have a general manager.
I
We don't
have
got
3
this.
people who bully me. So I don't.
You're,
I don't know what to do.
you're sharing one with me.
Yeah, true. One of them's on loan. Anyway,
Oh my god.
what are there other things that we need to know about Executive Group A before we move on to close out with Executive Group B?
Yes, there are, but we won't know until they
yeah.
play.
Oh, good. Okay.
True, but I'm here to overreact.
Yeah, good.
Ace Kaiju, there is a Hax Defender sized hole in Executive right now, and Ace Kaiju had an insane series on the Nidalee. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
This is the division where Nidalee is okay. And seeing somebody play it is
I'm gonna ask my jungler to play Nidalee on Sunday.
No, you're not. We're not playing Nidalee.
Yeah, I mean, somebody needed to fill Hax Defender's hole, and it seems like somebody has really stepped up to the plate to do so. So, I'm excited. My co-casters are excited. They're complaining, but they're excited. So yeah, I'm excited for Odin's Eye versus Loses Improved. That's tonight at 9 o'clock. So that's kind of one of those late night matches. And I think that that rounds out Executive Group A, and I can move us into Executive Group B. So let's take a look at these remaining standings here. All right. 2 out of 3 matches played. So Group B wins in the matches played column. And the last match is Monday at 7 p.m. So bleeding a little bit into week 2, but you know what? It's Executive. We'll let it slide. Do you want to talk about the Guangdong Tigers now?
I'll take it.
Charles, who you got?
Yeah.
He's either playing in China or Japan.
China or Japan. We need to
That's not the name of the
more
team.
specific.
Guangdong Tigers. Ni hao! Ni hao!
Guangdong Tigers.
Let's go, baby! We're 1-0! I'm so hyped. Oh my gosh, I'm so hyped.
Good lord.
Okay. Well, I am also excited. They were streamed last night, and if you missed that, don't worry. Guess who was on top of it and uploaded the VOD to YouTube today? It was me.
Keep up the great work.
I had to give LeChance a crash course in the Guangdong Tiger. He didn't
understand the
basketball,
reference.
so he didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So I had to give like a crash course in why it was so funny.
In his defense, I also knew nothing about the NBA, or for that matter, inside the NBA. I just knew inside the NBA existed, and so I texted this group, and I was like, hey, we should do an inside the NBA thing, but for LBLCS. And after I sent that text, I went and watched highlight clips from inside the NBA to get a sense of what exactly I had just signed myself up for.
And now we've come full circle.
Pretty spot on so far.
Yeah, and now Guangdong Tigers is. We didn't make this. It's not like
manifesting.
Yeah. When I messaged LeChance and was like, "Hey, this is my new favorite team outside of Past Prime." Now that they're gone, he's like, "Oh, because when I originally told him I really like Past Prime, I was like, oh, they do this and macro. It's so good. Like they're really good at this." He's like, "Oh, well, what do you like about Guangdong Tigers?" I was like, okay, this is gonna be weird, but they're the same name as like a Chinese basketball team that's like a meme. This has nothing to do with their gameplay. I haven't watched a single game yet, but now I have. Now I've witnessed their beautiful gameplay. They play
3 games.
what I would call a gentleman's League of Legends. A beautiful game. The game that I love. When I watch them play, they're playing the game that I love.
They play the game the right way.
They play the game the right way.
The right way.
A bunch of heads-up players. They play the game the right way. Bunch of smart ganks, you know.
Yep, smart ganks. Not flashy. They're not the most
They're not flashy, but very
mechanical
heads-up. You can
players.
tell. You can
Yep.
tell.
But yeah,
Yep.
You know,
strong fundamentals.
real leaders out there. Bunch of real leaders.
Yeah. Okay.
Leaders of men and women. I should say.
Who knows?
Who knows? I
yeah.
haven't interviewed them. I would love to be in a room with them, but I haven't been yet.
Kind of an odd phrase for that, I think, but we'll move on.
Oh, they played Mundo Jungle. This may be my favorite team too, actually.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
kind of
actually,
cool for that.
ironically, great team.
Yeah, that's really awesome. To kind of like keep the contested momentum going, there was another 2-1 in Executive Group B with Dirty Rats Xfinity taking the dub over AP Krogma. What do we think about that? That's so it's a new team, AP Krogma versus DRX, who is a LBLCS staple at this point. What, like 3 or 4 seasons?
Yeah.
Yep.
They've
Dirty
been around
Rats
a
was,
while.
Krogma.
yeah.
Krogma came out swinging. They, especially that game one, it was a pretty solid win for them. 7K up by the games and up double-digit kills. You know, their mid and ADC went off. But in that game, there's also a 14-4 Twitch and foreign guy playing playing Malignants into full tank Malphite mid and
Sure.
a Briar top. And then a Yasuo top. Like this is the DRX that we know and love. They're just throwing shit at teams. And some games it goes so much harder than others. And you can see it's like Les Force said, that game one, game one, they came out, lost, tough game, and really, once again, AP Krogma came out, swung hard, but DRX, they won that game too, and
Carried the
just
momentum.
rolled from there. Yeah, the momentum rolled from there, and it was, game one, their ADC was like, by the way, both ADCs ended that game with 14 kills.
That's crazy. That's playing the game the right way.
Precisely. And even better in game two, AP Krogma's mid and ADC combined to be 25-9.
Wow.
And they lost. So that I feel like that's like a perfect kind
Hard
of
fought,
taste
yeah.
of like DRX will just take games from you if need be.
Mhm.
And I think that's like
Yep.
so hype. That's why I love them as a team.
Yeah. I think it's a good sign for DRX because again they've been kind of that staple in financial for we say a couple seasons, but really, it's been a couple years at this point. Like I always think of them as one of the top teams in financial. This season they make that jump to executive, and when we did the rankings, we said that's the hardest jump to make. What's it going to look like? They came out and looked pretty good.
Mhm.
So I know they got the Hyler Eclipse coming up not next week, but the week after. So I'm curious to kind of see like what next week looks like for them.
Another team name where it's got the org name and then like a quippy like
Dude.
one
Oh my God.
word.
Even you could make the argument that Guangdong Tigers, if there was another Guangdong team, they could be called the Guangdong Leopards. They
Or
could
the Guangdong Jaguars.
The Guangdong
you
Panthers.
could make a
Even.
wish. You could be
Panthers.
make a sandwich. You could be make a drink. You could be any
Wait.
combinations you wanted.
That's just
Pose 4 toes. Pose 3 toes. Pose 2 toes. Pose
that's
1 toe.
actually fun. Here's an unsolicited history lesson. There was a team just like that season 5. There was 5 drinks in CEO.
And, yeah.
I think there was 4 drinks in commercial and 3
designated
drinks
drivers.
in. Oh, and designated drivers. Thank you. In financial, I think. No, that didn't exist. I think there was a executive at the time.
It's a great name.
Let's first continue your point before Jack had to throw another piece of shade at.
Oh no, not shade. I'm just observing.
No, I mean that was pretty much the point, right? Got one series left to play, and that is with a team that we didn't analyze in the first episode because they came they're jumping right into the thick of things. Week 1, that's why that game kind of got rescheduled because they got picked up kind of like halfway through the week. So we'll check them out on Monday and see how these guys look. Only game left to be played.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that is a thing that has happened, and I guess makes our tier list a little obsolete. Cool. All right. Anyway, yeah. I mean, what else do we need to know about Executive Group B before we close out our show?
Talk about it in chat. High Alert didn't lose.
That's true.
Hasn't lost, so
Undefeated.
we'll see what happens.
we'll
And
Already up from next year, or
and
up from last
if
year.
you're looking for where Pose 5 Toes take on Make a Wish, look no further than Monday at 7 p.m., which is when that match is scheduled. If you haven't scheduled, if you haven't scheduled your matches for week 2, go ahead and get on that. Because that way you can make sure that they get scheduled, and then we can if you want to get streamed, that's pretty much the only way that you're going to get streamed. And then you don't have to set yourself up to try to play 3 matches in the makeup week and then have to FF a couple of them and take O2s. It's all a mess. Anyway, and if you're not a captain, send your schedule to your captain. They will love you forever until the season ends. So there's that.
Yippee.
All right. What else? What else we need to know? Just like league-wide stuff. What's going on? How are we feeling? Broad thoughts.
Patch next week. You know what that means?
What does it mean?
I'll probably do a patch rundown.
Okay, we can do another
Yeah.
patch notes with Vegas segment.
You may get
do we-
two.
I was gonna say,
you may get 2 different slideshows from me.
Ooh,
do we want to put anything on our wagers for the week? Jack, do you have all of our predictions that we did this past week?
Yes.
If since I'm playing against one of the Less Force teams this week, we'll just say whoever's predictions are better. If I'm worse than Less Force, I will do the patch notes reading while eating hot sauce.
Okay.
I will do the entire segment while hot sauce.
Okay, sounds good. I like
And
those stakes.
What
I'll
if
let
my
you
predictions
decide.
are worse?
I'll let you decide what you want to do.
Ooh, I don't have anything on top of my head.
I will pay.
Maybe
I will pay to send you a Milk Esports costume that you have to wear on one episode of the booth this year.
Wow. That's
Milk
crazy.
Esports costume. Is it just like one of those cartons or?
I can't think. I can't decide if it would be.
You know what is
That would be ideal.
But we don't really show cams on here. And it'd be odd to just have. So what I think is going to
Like a
happen
VTuber?
is what I think is going to happen is you send him the costume, and then I'll take him out for coffee, and I'll record the whole thing.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I was about to say, are you going to suggest a VTuber in which I will pay for the rigging for a VTuber of just a milk mascot that just gets used?
That might not. We should
That's
consider
crazy.
that one too. We should consider that one too.
All right, we have sufficiently
We'll
entered.
workshop it. We'll workshop.
We'll workshop.
We'll
We'll
Yeah,
workshop.
you
workshop it.
gotta
Workshop it.
workshop
We'll
that.
review. We'll circle back to that one.
Got
We've
mine as a
sufficiently
low
entered
effort,
brainstorming. So I guess that means that our show is coming to a close for the day. It's occurring to me that we didn't do predictions for week 2, but you know what? Fuck it. Anything goes. I guess it's just the booth. We're just kicking it. There's plenty of.
I got to
pancakes
schedule
go around.
games.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually do know 2 are already scheduled.
No, I mean, not that
Will
anybody
they?
would know.
Will they be
but
rescheduled? Will they be rescheduled? Who
to be
knows?
determined. All right. So if you haven't got your match scheduled, go schedule it. If you haven't sent your captain your schedule for the week and you haven't replied to that message yet, go do that. Go just do it. It's not hard.
And if they won't respond, message chat.
And if they won't respond, just send me your schedule. And I'll send it back with some notes of like things I think could be improved or some things that you've done well. And if you don't keep a calendar, do that.
Grow up.
Grow up. Become an adult.
Grow up.
Become an
Jesus.
adult so that you can put on your calendar the booth for 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon, and talk about playing amateur competitive video games. So there you go.
You want me to send us out?
Yeah, I would love it if you sent us out, actually.
Call it.
It's like your fault, right?
Anyways, so yeah, that's my fault. That one's on me. Anyways, so if you got hoes calling your phone, have a great rest of your Saturday. And if you don't, there's League of
Hit me
Legends
up.
tonight. So
I guess that's it.
Oh, okay, Val. Anyway, so everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of The Booth. Wanna just like quickly, like we obviously cannot get to in a reasonable amount of time every single team, and we can't always talk in depth about every single team. Sometimes we have to make a choice, and we have to sort of single a couple teams out as either newcomers or something special, and sometimes that might mean other teams fall by the wayside. If you have like any type of critique, if something we say rubs you the wrong way, you can reach out to me. You can send me a message. And if your team didn't get talked about, we're sorry. We do what we can. We're only human. We've been live for like 2 hours.
Mark.
So we'll
Mark.
do what we can. Anyway, we love you very much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This episode will be on YouTube, so if you missed your section, go check it out as soon as you can. And I can't wait to come back and do this all over again. Potentially with hot sauce or milk costume, or I don't know what. We'll figure it out. It's just vibes. So everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. Maybe there will be a stream tonight. I don't know. And just remember, it takes two to tango.